to yet another very exciting edition of Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition here on Atlantic Television Network. On this edition of the program, our focus will be on international friendly games that we've seen so far in the course of the week, and of course what to expect as well in the coming days. Beyond that, FIFA has brought up new rules that will be implemented during the 2026 FIFA World Cup coming up in Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America. African teams need to be wary of these new rules, and we'll take a look at them. Beyond that as well, there is the Miami Open. It's entered into the very crucial final. Do we have some interesting results? We'll take a look at that and many more on this edition of Sports Extraordinary. No football, at the European level, but then we can take a peep at what's happening with the Premier League here in Nigeria. So it is a loaded program for you this weekend. I ask you to sit back and we'll go on a break. When we return from the break, we'll serve you with all of the details. Stay with us. Welcome to a weekend of Sports Extraordinary here on Atlantic Television Network. This weekend I have with me Mike. Mike, it's nice to have you on the weekend where there is no Premier League football across Europe especially.
Thanks for having me. It's yet another interesting weekend. Incidentally, there's no club football, but we have international football ranging from a World Cup playoff, and then you talk about some of the friendly games. I think promises to be another exciting weekend as well, and many other big happenings in the world of sport. Glad to be here.
Intercontinental World Cup playoff coming out through the rest of the week and weekend as well. We'll take a look at them. Let's see whether Congo DR will just qualify. They have a crucial tie against Jamaica. Win Jamaica and go into the World Cup, not minding the foolery of the Nigerian Football Federation. But first, let's start from the local scene. Team Bayelsa and Team Ogun has emerged as standout performance on the 3 of the Governor Idris Wrestling Classic. It's interesting that Governor do not take wrestling for anything for granted. We've often seen this one, and it's always thrown up exciting, talented young wrestlers. This for me is good because you do not rely on big names, and at the end of the day, you do not have anyone to replace them when the twilight of their career. But Governor Idris of Bayelsa State has done this consistently, and we keep to see the reasons why the Wrestling Federation of Nigeria is as well doing well.
Definitely, you must give it to the governor. He's a sports-loving governor, and I think he has maintained the consistency of hosting this wrestling championship back there in Bayelsa State, which I think for me is a very, very good breeding ground for we to raise other young wrestlers. You can't also forget the fact that some of the big names, the blessed Noboro Dudus of this world, that will have, I think, age might not just be on their side. I think there's need for we to raise the young prospect, young future wrestlers, and it begins from right here, from different states. And Bayelsa have exceptionally distinguished themselves among the states that is topping the list in terms of wrestling development, combing up the young ones from the grassroots level. And I think for me it's an exciting one. I listened to Daniel Igali, the sport commissioner, the other day when he was talking about the fact that this is one of the trademark achievements of the governor and for the state. Indeed, they want to build a very viable wrestling activity that will make the state one of the best in terms of wrestling, not just here in Nigeria but across Africa. And you can see the trajectory they are moving towards. And I think for me, it is something that other states as well need to also key in.
Talk about the excellent performances of Daniel Gali. Beyond the fact that he as well, is into, of course, very experienced. You like mentioned the governor was former sports commissioner. Daniel Gali, former top wrestler himself.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why he's really fishing them out very young? This is a tournament where we're seeing under 14, 15s competing. Do you think that his cognate experience, so to say, has been the reason why you seeing him turn out these talents year in and year out?
Absolutely yes to that question, because I mean, for me, you cannot give out what you don't have. You can only give out what you have. And the governor is a sport-loving governor. It's one man who has been into administrative capacity in terms of sports. And then again, talk about his sport commissioner. Is also another person that is not just a sport administrator, but he has seen it at a very professional stage, at the top level. All right, before even taking or assuming the role of an administrator. And especially not just the role of an administrator, the area where he is very much invested with a large experience. And I think for me, all of these combined together have actually brought out the best in terms of the sport development back there. So for me, I think, many times we keep talking about the fact that there is need for we to have the square peg in a square hole. When you put the right people in the right places, especially in terms of administrative cadre, they tend to do better compared to those who are just coming into the system as an alien that want to learn on the job. There is difference between you knowing what to do. You have the requisite experience. You have tested the field and you know how far it is, and you know how to navigate your steering towards the area of progress. Unlike someone who doesn't have such experience, have not been on the field and just want to learn on the job, there are clear differences and the result cannot be the same. When you have someone who has seen it at the top level and then also manning administrative cadre, and someone who is just coming just because he's favored to be appointed as a sport commissioner, the difference will always be clear for me, and that is why we are having this massive sport development. We are not just talking about wrestling alone. You talk about table tennis as well. They are also doing something great. The governor the other day, commissioned some table tennis center with modern facilities. So for me, I think the combination of the governor and that of the sport minister, two persons who understand the metrics of sporting administration, have come into stand, and of course you can see the visible achievement and progress so far.
Well, we'll take a break from that one because it's commendable. The whole Nigeria, especially looking at the Sporting Federation, is admiring the activities of Daniel Gali and of course the Bayelsa State Governor as well. Now let's get to a bit of tennis because we have to go straight into our main talking point, which has to do with the FIFA rules that have just been introduced ahead of the FIFA World Cup that is just about 70 days away. There's a major qualifier for the Miami Open this weekend. Alexander Zverev seemed to have gotten on the wrong side of Yannick Sinner. World number 2, looking out, seeing whether he can capture back his number 1 status, has taken Alexander Zverev that so far has shown that he had the quality of going all the way to the final, but he's been stopped now at the semi-finals.
I think for me it wasn't surprising. I think you and I talked about this yesterday. Somehow, though time could not permit us to peruse through some of the key highlights that we expected, in this match of this weekend. But then I know it's right on paper that Yannick Sinner will be favored to go through in that particular one because he's been on an excellent form so far. For Zverev, I think I never believed in him right from the get-go because having watched his last 6 games so far in all competition, I wasn't really confident enough on him to stake my money on Zverev to go past Yannick Sinner. Yannick Sinner, yeah, has been dethroned, or was dethroned as the world #1 by the young Spaniard Carlos Alcaraz. And the quest right now is for him not just to win the Miami Open, but then to accumulate the points numbers, which will also help him to advance closer to, catching up with Carlos Alcaraz, which for me I think is key. So no surprises at all for me that Yannick Sinner was able to breeze past, Zverev.
Well, I'm sure if we do have time, we can revisit and see who gets it, especially in the female category. Will it be Coco Gauff or will it be Arina Sabalenka? That's quite a big final, if you ask me. Now, let's get to our main issue for discussion, which has to do with FIFA introducing new rules that must be implemented at the forthcoming FIFA World Cup. Mike, the FIFA World Cup is just about 70 days away from now. New rules are being thrown up and expected to be implemented during the competition in Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America. The very first that is giving advice, especially to the African teams going to the World Cup, is the 10-second match to leave the pitch if you have any injury. What do you make of it, Mike? 10 seconds, if you have injury, you must leave the pitch.
I think for me, this, rules, some might say that it's too aesthetics, too cosmetic. But then, if you take a look at it critically, I think for me, these rules are, very genuine and meant well for the game.
No, first, let's look at the one of leaving the pitch. Like, if you are, if you want to be, a change has to be made.
Yeah, it says that 10 seconds is given if a substitution is made. And some players, there are some players deliberately, when they are winning, they will just be wasting time, just try to while away. But then 10 seconds is given that if you are unable to walk out of the pitch of a play within this limit of 10 seconds, then the substitute that was supposed to come in your place, then need to have to wait for 1 minute. So it cuts down the time of the delay of that person that was supposed to come out immediately, that is trying to delay this. So for me, I think it's very, very perfect.
10 seconds for you to leave the pitch. If you don't leave the pitch, then the man taking over from you will not enter until after 1 minute. 1 minute, 60 seconds, quite enough time in football.
Definitely, 60 seconds. We've seen, goals being scored, 2 goals, sometime a goal within the space of 60. So I think it's huge. 1 minute is very huge. 60 seconds, you can get 2 goals within the space of 60 seconds.
We've seen it in Europe that it has improved on time, but in Africa, we see players delay so much leaving the pitch. They want to leave the pitch from the farthest angle, instead of leaving from the shortest angle. So I think FIFA maybe must have had Africans at the back of their mind when these rules were being made, but then that's what it is. And you think the period will be good enough for the coaches and team officials to implement this one, of course, drum it well enough into the ears of players?
Definitely. Before a substitution is made, the head coach will first call on the player and give out a certain instruction, and then before you get down to match officials, that is possibly the linesman, and then substitution board will be raised. And the players at this point in time should properly acquaint themselves. In fact, the coach doesn't even need to tell them, because by now they should get acquainted with these new rules as has been introduced by FIFA. But then coaches also have a part to play. That, come on, you are going there, don't waste time, and in case you are called out for substitution, make it as quick as possible. So I think it is something that they just need to get along with it.
Well, looking at the rules introduced by FIFA for implementation at the forthcoming FIFA World Cup in just about 70 days from now, one of it is the 5 seconds rule. You must take a throw in 5 seconds, or you must take a corner kick in 5 seconds, or you lose possession to the opposite side. That is really dicey, and the players, I don't know whether they will make a mistake with this one, because when you lose possession to your opponent and you were to take corner kick, then you can imagine what it will be.
I think all of these rules is just tailored towards coping the excess time wasting. All right, this time wasting always works in favor of the winning team. all right? And that is why you see some sort of a fisticuff for on-pitch fighting. When you are winning and there's a throw-in that you were supposed to take as quick as possible, but you want to delay just because you are winning. You want to while away the time at the detriment of the opposite team. So all these rules is tailored towards, enhancing the level of, football, and then enhancing the amount. I mean, the time need to be utilized appropriately. A full football game, professional football game, is 90 minutes. Or there, unless maybe you have added time, let's say 5 or 2 minutes. But then, that full 90 minutes must appropriately be utilized. All right, because you can't keep wasting time just because you are wasting, just because you are winning at the detriment of other teams. So for me, I think I'm comfortable with the rules. Another
rule change for FIFA, and it has to do with medical attention. If your player is being attended to on the pitch, after the immediate attention, he must leave the pitch. Mike, what do you make of this one? You are asked to leave the pitch, and wait for 1 minute before you can come back when your medicals are completely done. These two tailor towards ensuring that players don't waste time, because we often see players who spend a lot of time being treated on the pitch and they just want to continue after wasting the time. But now, whatever happens, if you are in danger, when you are out of danger, you must go out of the pitch and wait for 1 full minute before you can return back to the pitch.
I think it's still the same thing. It is also acceptable and reasonable enough so that you don't waste time. Sometimes just because of medical attention, they waste a lot of time that even the center ref at some point will have to pause his time just to wait for the medical attention. So for me, I think it's a nice one, not a bad one at all. It's just that there are so many complaints from different quarters that many of these rules is trying to water down the natural flow of football. But for me, I think all this is just towards ensuring that time is properly utilized.
In this instance, there is an exception, unless we understand if the injury was caused by a foul sanctioned by a card, either a yellow or red card, then you can turn around this one.
Definitely. That is the exception. More like a clause attached to it, which if you take a look at it in the other way around, it is also very much acceptable.
Talking about FIFA rules that must be implemented at the upcoming World Cup in just about 70 days from now, there is a second yellow card, which now there's an opportunity for a second yellow card to be reviewed. Yeah. Oftentimes we've seen situations where a referee will give you the first yellow card, then give a second, which leads to automatic expulsion from the pitch. Sometimes there could be mistakes, but now the video assistant referee must review the second yellow card to see whether it is deserving of a red or it can be cancelled. This is a good one, especially for unfair treatment or sometimes when the referees make mistakes.
Definitely, I think it's very key. Not just the yellow card, but then it also extends to even the corner kicks as well. We've seen most time when ball go out of a possession, it was supposed to be a throw-in, and then they will now point to corner kick. And we've seen so many times those corner kick leading to goal. Arsenal is a victim to that some time ago when the ball went outside of a play, but then was smuggled in and play continuous and resulted to goal. So for me, I think it's okay. And then again, sometimes some ref, though they are humans as well, all right? Because when you're on the pitch of play running, the adrenaline flows, and many times you might not just get it right. As human, there are times that you commit a lot of, small blunders that need to be reviewed. All right, yellow card being one of those. We've seen a tackle that possibly did not deserve a second yellow, and then refs issues out a second yellow. Nobody questions the ref. No VAR to check. So I think for me it is okay. And then again for the corner kick, I think it is okay as well, so that we properly see when the ball is off, the pitch of play, possibly for a corner and all of that.
What does this mean to the center referee? Little mistakes this time around, or your mistakes where the referee would not be completely left off? The video assistant referee can always call them to when they make these slight mistakes that sometimes some teams have benefited from it, like you mentioned, Arsenal, and have been on the wrong side of it in the past. So now the referees have, do I say, a small margin of error?
Exactly, a minimal margin of error this time around because his action will be also
checked by another colleague.
Exactly, but then again, there is also an atom of power also vested on the center ref as well, because Article 5.1 of the FIFA rules clearly states that the center ref has the final say on the pitch of play, and whatever decision that he takes stand. And then again, VAR having the responsibility of calling the referee back to take or review some of his action, I think it is okay, but then it still falls within the ambit, all right, of the center ref to make his decision. So this time around, I think some of those errors probably will be limited.
Talking about errors being limited and time, allowed for more game time to be allowed at the FIFA World Cup. One other rule that a lot of people, we are getting used to, we've seen it in Europe, but we need to see it across the world and especially in Africa, is the referee, and the captain relationship. Now we are told that you must be a captain for you to talk to the referee as a player, or you have an instant card or punish for it for coming to, talk to the referee on the pitch now. So it's only the one wearing the armband that can approach the referee. If not, you'll be punished with a card.
I think for me it is okay, because we've seen sometimes where players, whenever the center ref takes a decision, you see players gathering around the referee more like trying to
we see even ask for penalty kicks. They will say, okay, if penalty has been committed and they should call it and all of that. And you see 3, 4, 5 players rush the referee. But now he has to be the captain. And incidentally, we've seen as well where the players rush and the captain tried to refrain them now. But that looks like will not be the issue anymore, whether you're refrain or not. As long as you come towards the direction of the referee and talk to him, then you are punished.
I think that even helps the captain as well, because sometimes the captain goes through a lot. There are some players that are very recalcitrant and very quick to anger, that whenever a center ref takes a decision, you just see them doubling down on the center ref, and sometimes the captain try to hold them back. But as a captain of a team, you cannot hold the entire team. We have 11 players on the pitch of play, so if 5 doubles down on the center row to lodge a complaint aggressively, how many people as a captain will you hold at a time? So I think it's even better for the captain to, of course, ease the strength of trying to call his fellow players back. Now there is more that even accord more respect to the captain this time around, all right, because he is the one that can only talk to the center ref.
Well, I think that's the most we can take about the rules, but let's look at how this affects African teams. We are aware that the VAR only was introduced to Confederation of African Football in the last 2 editions of the African Cup of Nations. But we still see some African players find it difficult to adapt to this. We have nearly 10 teams from Africa going to the World Cup if Congo qualifies by next week or in the next couple of hours from now. We will have 10 teams going. How adaptable will this be to the African teams going to the World Cup?
I think if other continents or other footballing nations will adapt to it, Africa should also adapt to it. The rule is not an exclusive preserve for other clubs or other countries alone. It is for all and sundry, whether you are an Asian, Europe, Africa, North America. The rule is sacrosanct across board in terms of these FIFA rules, and of course. FIFA is the global, governing body of football. So whatever rules that they make must abide to all. So for me, Africa shouldn't be an exception to this. I know we've seen cases of some of the rules being adjusted in Europe and even in FIFA, which are not yet adjusted in Africa. For example, you talk about the double header in terms of CAF organized competition. You still see home and away. Instead of a one-legged final, you are seeing two-legged final. But this time, this one is coming from the apex body, which is FIFA. So if it is applying to all other countries and continents, Africa should also do well to at least, get themselves acquainted and prepare for this.
Major changes to rules of FIFA ahead of the World Cup that is just about 70 days away, and now there will be stricter, implementation of disciplinary rules on the pitch, and of course game time, match time will improve as well. We've seen an average of 80 minutes sometimes played in games, or even less than 80 minutes for a 90-minute game because of the antics of players. And all of this now has been spotted clinically, and it will be punished in the days ahead. We just hope that the African teams will get used to this. Like we mentioned, we just saw the implementation of some of these rules at the last African Cup of Nations, but the players were still adamant to it. But we hope that it will improve football generally at the end of the day. We'll take a break. When we return from the break, there will be more on our main discourse. This time around, it has to do with the Intercontinental Playoff. Can Congo cross over to the FIFA World Cup coming up next year? They may be able to take down their first opponent. It looks like the second and final will come up after this weekend, but that will definitely see Congo go. So we'll look at if Congo has a chance of going to the World Cup against Jamaica. And something brewing across in the United States of America, out there in Florida. We talked about him a few days ago. Tiger Woods. What about Tiger Woods? He just came back and contemplating whether to return back to full golfing activities. Now, he's been charged for driving under the influence. His car had an accident a few hours ago, and it's been known that he was under the influence of what cannot be determined immediately on the spot, but he's been charged, and I think he's presently undergoing an 8-hour detention. After the detention, this matter will come to the gate. We'll look at what is it about Tiger Woods and accidents. A couple of years ago, he was involved in one, and that accident then too was caused by the influence of what they call driving under the influence, alcohol, drugs, or whatever. But now we'll take a look at him, and of course his prospect of returning back to golf after this charge for reckless driving. A lot more for you on this edition of Sports Extraordinary Weekend Edition. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. On ATM.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorables,
You human
on the point of order.
Honorables, you are a human
On the point
So no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back. A Sports Extraordinary Weekend edition here. This weekend, our focus is on the rules, new rules to be implemented at the FIFA World Cup with just about 70 days. FIFA has come out with about 5 rules that must be implemented in course of the action. The team discipline and, of course, ensuring that there's more match time, game time, has been the reasons behind these rules. And so players have to be worried, especially African players going to the World Cup. But beyond that, our other issue for discussion has to do with the international friendlies and, of course, World Cup qualifiers. Yes, Jamaica and Congo DR, the last African team that could be going to the World Cup, comes up in the next few hours from now. We'll take a look at that. But before we go there, as we speak, Mike, the need to qualify for the World Relay Championship is on in Botswana, and Nigeria has qualified in the mixed relay 4x100 meters event with a time of 41.44 seconds. What a way to qualify, because with this time Nigeria should be under the top 15 relay sites in the world.
A good one, though they left it late, but then it's better late than never. It was a blitzing, performance from Team Nigeria out, and I think they deserve to at least get one of the tickets to qualify to go through. Actually, was keeping tab on that particular one, though the network wasn't that clear enough. However, I later saw some of the highlights, and I must say that it's a big win for Nigerian athletics, as they hope to at least even do better when the Mundial kick off properly.
Well, we've seen the male event in the same Gaborone, Botswana. We've seen the Nigerian men 4x100 meters chalk up. It is 39 seconds. How fast can this 4x100 meters relay team for Nigeria be, leading up to going to the World Relay Championship?
How fast they can be is all depend on their preparation, and I believe that they still need to improve on their
39
timing.
seconds is good enough to go to the World Relays.
Yeah, I think it is. But then they must improve on their timing. That is just the truth. If you take a look at the race, I think they were shy of meeting up with the orders in terms of finishing within the appropriate time frame. So I believe there's still more room for improvement for the team Nigeria.
Well, it is the weekend of international friendlies, and of course it's international break across Europe and the rest of the world in football. Teams, countries use the opportunity to play international friendlies. Those going to the World Cup as well prepare, going to the World Cup. There is the intercontinental qualifiers, for the World Cup as well. But before we get to the intercontinental qualifiers, let's start with some of the international friendlies we saw in the course of the week. Only a few hours ago, we saw the Super Eagles of Nigeria, beat their counterparts from Iran, 2-1. Iranian team is going to the World Cup. The Super Eagles are not going to the World Cup. Of what benefit is this to the Super Eagles first, Mike? And of course, look at the quality of preparations coming from the Iranian national team.
First, for what benefit it is for the Super Eagles, I think the benefit is that this is going to help prepare them ahead of the 2027 African Cup of Nations qualifier. Secondly, the next benefit is that it's going to help them continue to improve on their global FIFA rankings. These are the two key benefits for this friendly. Then again, the third benefit is probably for the team, for the coach to have time to experiment with some of the new players invited to the camp, because it is during this international window that players are being given opportunity, especially those who are making their first appearance for their different national team, to see what they bring to the table. So these are the three benefits. First, to prepare them ahead of the 2027 AFCON. Secondly, is to help improve their FIFA ranking. Thirdly, is for the coach to use this opportunity to test run some of the new names invited into the camp. Talking
about the names invited to the camp, especially for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, there is a new goalkeeper, between the sticks. Stanley Nwabali was not invited for this international friendly.
Yeah, Stanley Nwabali currently is clubless as we speak because since he left Chippas United, he hasn't got a permanent contract with any club, so far. So Maduka Okeye makes a return of Udinese, and I think he's been on a fine form since he finished serving his some match suspension because of the betting issues that he had out there in the Italian Serie A. I think he has come back in between the stick for the Udinese side, and he's been doing great. And in fact, he said the reason why he had to excuse himself from the last African Cup of Nations was that he is just coming back after the ban. Then he needed time to, of course, contribute to the coach and then pay back Udinese for the confidence and hope repose on him while serving those match ban as well. So he was on goal talking about Maduka Okoye, and I think he did not do bad at all.
Well, I think something seems to be breaking now. We understand it looks like Nigeria is short by 2 seconds going to the main 4x100 meters qualifier for the world release. It's still being examined. We just hope that there will be a way out for the main 4x100 meters to go to the World Cup. They just qualified. They just ran a time of 39.1 seconds. Meanwhile, looking at the international friendlies, Australia as well beat. No, first before we go to Australia, let's look at the Iranian national team. They are going to the World Cup. They've already qualified for the World Cup. Of course, there is war between their country and, of course, Israel and America on one side. We saw them in that fixture with what looks like school bag. We understand there was strike of over 100 children being, affected in that one. But do you think the Iranians playing against the Super Eagles is quality preparation ahead of the World Cup?
Yeah, definitely, because who knows, they might meet with any African team. All right, so they just need to get a feel of how what it looks to play, African team. The reason why they, and then again, I think if you take a look at the Iranians. They are not doing bad at all in terms of global football. It might surprise you to know that they are even better ranked compared to the Super Eagles, talking about the Iranians. They are ranked at 21st in the world, and they are playing against the Super Eagles that they are better off in terms of a ranking. We might have some notable players better than theirs, but then in terms of consistency of what they've done in the past and present, I think they are a better team compared to the Super Eagles, looking at the ranking here. So I think a good preparation for them, because just maybe they might meet any African country when the World Cup gets underway proper.
While the Super Eagles beat their counterparts from Iran by 2-1, their counterparts from Cameroon, Atlas Lions, suffered a 1-0 defeat to Australia. The Indomitable Lions of Cameroon need to get more serious, you say?
Definitely, they need to get more serious, although it's just friendly games per se. However, even if it is a friendly games, you just need to give out your best and ensure that you are at the top of your game, because your preparation ahead of the World Cup is very, very crucial to giving the team that confidence boost.
Talking about quality of preparation and giving your team confidence, the Black Stars of Ghana, do they have any confidence suffering a 4-0 defeat?
5-1 defeat.
5-1 defeat,
yeah, however, technically it is still 4-0 as well, because if you minus 1 out of a 5, it is a 4-0, but then the full scoreline was 5-1. It was a very disappointing,
Did your opponent have that quality to beat Black Stars of Ghana by 5-1?
Definitely. Austria have, great players. Don't forget Alaba. The likes of Kane Chukwuemeka is from Austria, because, of course, he's just switched allegiance from England, to represent Austria, and then it was a glorious display. They have quality, players in their rank, and this is a clarion call to Otto Addo, the head coach of the Black Stars, to level up and sit up, because if you go with this kind of a poor preparation to the World Cup, they might just end up being, embarrassed at the group stage, because this is the first time almost in 20 years that they will be trashed 5-1, and for me I think it's a heavy defeat. The players also need to take responsibility, because I saw the preparation leading to that game. The players were just sitting, in their dinner room, playing what, enjoying themselves, laughing and playing. I'm not saying that they shouldn't play, but then beyond that, they should be more serious.
Talking about being more serious, do you think we have a team like Argentina coming up against your team? You should expect goals, especially. But we saw Mauritania concede only one against Argentina. 2-1 ended in favor of Argentina. Mauritania versus Argentina.
I think it's a surprising result, and it is to tell you that football is something that's quite unpredictable, and it is evolving every day. The team that you meet today, that you think probably they're a weaker team, if you meet them tomorrow, they might just surprise, and this is what we saw. They had to even score a goal to reduce the deficit for a star-studded Argentine side.
Spain 3, Serbia no goal.
I think it wasn't a surprise for the Spanish national team. They are rebuilding, and the rebuilding process has been very good. A blend of experience and then youthfulness, the agility, the techniques, the tactical display of the Spanish team. I think it is one to be happy about, especially with some of the young lads performing exceptionally in that particular game.
Talking about international friendly in the course of the weekend, England won, Uruguay won. Arsenal, Noni Madueke in double patches.
Yeah, for Noni Madueke, good one, and for English national team.
No, left out in bandage. You think he can get better for his team by leading up to the last 8 matches or 7 games for the team?
We just hope so. Injury sometimes could, serve as a very big factor in terms of maintaining your.
We've seen some of the top players of Arsenal pull out of this week international friendly. Gabriel Magalhaes, pull out. William Saliba, and of course, what's his other name, Rice as well, all pull out. And for me, it had to do with they're looking up to the league games than international friendly. Maybe because their coaches of the respective national team already have them as starters. Maybe Noni Madueke could not pull out because he wasn't sure of his position, you say?
And then again, precautionary measure as well. The season is almost coming to an end. Now they are still fighting in all 3 fronts, having lost one of the quadruple they were chasing for. So I think the players need to stay 100% fit even as they bid. We no doubt. And then again, talking about the international duty, the World Cup is just by the corner. Some of these players are just being more careful not to get injury while the World Cup is just by the corner.
Well, there is Sweden-Germany encounter. It looks like plenty of goals in this feature. 7 goals between both sides. Sweden 3, Germany 4.
Yeah, interesting game it was. For the German machine, I think they still need to do more. A lot of improvement needed to be done in that team. But then exceptional display from the Liverpool man, talking about Florian Wirtz, 2 assists. 2 goals, boosting his confidence level, but then more room for improvement for the German machine. If
you're a follower of the FIFA World Cup, you should have memory of Brazil versus France. A couple of years ago, it looks like that Gossi continued to hold the Brazilian national side. They lost 2-1 to France at the weekend.
Yeah, 2-1 to France, and it wasn't a great performance. The Brazilian fans are not really happy, especially with the the way Vinicius Junior went to exchange pleasantries with one of his club teammates out there, talking about Kylian Mbappe shortly after that game. He has come under intense criticism for smiling, laughing, jokingly, playing with his club teammates. But then again, Vinicius Junior is not the only man in that Brazil squad. Brazil needs a whole lot of reshuffling, a whole lot of rebuilding from Carlo Ancelotti.
Well, that's the much we can take from the international friendlies in the course of the weekend. And just before we look at the playoffs, the 1-2 game leading to the World Cup, the intercontinental playoffs, let's take out something that is breaking. Driving under the influence of alcohol for the 2nd or if not the 3rd time has come the way of Tiger Woods. Only a few days ago, he was part of a golf tournament, and of course, he was being asked whether he was going to come back fully to golf after being away for over a year from another accident that was known to be caused by driving under the influence. Now, again in Florida, a few hours ago, Tiger Woods be involved in a car somersault, and police on the scene have confirmed that the accident was caused by driving under the influence of alcohol. He's on hot in his SUV, having rammed through at the back of a vehicle that was towing another vehicle. What is it about Tiger Woods and driving under the influence of either alcohol, drugs, or whatever? Because in this particular one, the police are saying that Tiger Woods, testing him for alcohol, they couldn't find alcohol per se, but that he refused urine test, and so they could not determine clearly what influence he was on, whether it could be drugs or banned substance. What is it about Tiger Woods and driving under the influence is involved in? This is the second time, even not the third time of he's been arrested for same offense.
I think for me, basically,
he almost lost his life. You remember?
Yeah. Basically, I think he's not having a good record at all in terms of his past drug and alcoholic, check going by the record. You could also recall vividly in 2009 as well. He was also involved in this same issue of drug, and alcohol issue. And then at the time where he was just even coming back from injury, they actually say injury that he had and some surgery. Ahead of the Masters that he was preparing to come back, and then boom, before you could say Jack, is into one trouble or the other. The last injuries or the last issue he had, he was tested and then was discovered that he was under the influence of drug. He took a sleeping pill according to the report then, and even had to smash some part of his car as well. So I think for me, the man need to watch. He's a global star. Many are looking up to him. A 15-time winner. One of you can't write the history of golf without mentioning it. So for me, I think he's somebody that many youths are looking up to, and then he just need to stay clean and play according to the rules of the game.
Now let's look at teams that are going to the World Cup through what might be described as the back door. Turkey versus Romania ended 1-1 in an intercontinental playoff game.
Yeah, for Turkey, I think they still have a step, just one more game if they can get it right, and then the World Cup is theirs.
The Czech Republic and the Republic of Ireland ended 2-2.
Yeah, for Czech Republic and Republic of Ireland, I think Czech still have a slim chance, but then we'll see.
There's a penalty involved in this one. It ended 4-3 at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Then there is Denmark, Macedonia. 4-0 ended. It looks like Macedonia will have to think twice.
Definitely, I think it is almost out of their reach as it stands right now.
Italy beat Northern Ireland by 2-0. Wow, what a way for a big team like Italy to be going to through the back door to the World Cup.
I think they need it, especially if considering the fact that they've been away from the World Cup for nearly 12 years. A team such as Italy, the Azzurri, just can't say that the World Cup is complete without some of these big European teams.
Poland beat Albania by 2-1, and Poland is a bit closer to the World Cup.
Definitely a bit closer to the World Cup. I just hope they make it through. They have next week to finish up the job. I'm
surprised Slovakia slumped to Kosovo. 4-3 ended.
It is football, one of those magical moments.
Sweden won, Sweden 3, Ukraine 1, and Arsenal's top star, Gyökeres, with all 3 goals on the night.
Yeah, great one for Sweden. It is no more one-man, affair where Erling Haaland reigns supreme. I think Gyökeres is going to help that team a lot. Wales
played a 1-1 draw with Bosnia-Herzegovina, and it ended 4-2 after penalty shootout in favor of Wales.
Disappointing one for Bosnia and Herzegovina, especially for their captain, fantastic Edin Dzeko.
Well, and one that concerns Africans, there's a match involving Congo DR. They did their best in the first game, dispatched the opponent, and now this weekend, in fact on Monday, to be specific, they have a crucial tie against Jamaica. When Jamaica and Congo DR is in the World Cup.
I think for me, it's going to be a very tough game. My head is telling me that Congo might just, get the ticket, considering the way Jamaica played their last game. But then again, my heart is telling me that the reggae boys might just find a way to dance their reggae through to the World Cup.
Jamaica finding a way to get to the World Cup. Can they stop the African opponent? We'll keep our fingers crossed on that and see how. Do Nigerians still have any thinking of going to the World Cup?
No. I think that hope has been dashed and quashed away long ago.
Nigerians should have to look at the 2030 World Cup and not thinking of taking out Congo DR through the window and going to take their place. Now Congo DR is just 90 minutes from going to the FIFA World Cup coming up in Canada, Mexico, and the United States of America. Well, that will be the much you can take. We should have for you our sports extraordinaire for this weekend. What do you think? Who do you think can be our sports extraordinaire for this weekend? Because there is a certain Kimi Antonelli who has become the youngest driver to take a Formula 1 pole position at the weekend in China.
I think truly deserving. The man is really giving George Russell a tough time out there, and for the Mercedes, they need to watch out for this Kimi Antonelli, just 4 points away from the leaders as it stands right now. So I think he made a record for himself just a few hours ago, becoming the youngest driver to win at that Chinese pool. And
our sports extraordinaire for this weekend, where football is boxed to qualify for the FIFA World Cup. And that will be for this edition of Sports Extraordinary. Remember, next weekend we'll be back with yet another very exciting edition. Until then, remember, peace and unity are clearly pathways to progress. Always enjoy here on Atlantic Television Network.